everybody. It's the Hallmarkies podcast, and I'm so excited to be here. This is a special treat. I'm Rachel, and I am here to interview one of our favorite Hall stars. We are here to interview Jill Wagner. This is so exciting. Thank you so much, Jill, for coming on our podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is a real treat. So we like to start our interviews by asking you to introduce yourself and just let us know what inspired you to. I know you started sort of hosting and acting. What inspired you to get into your career, into this line of work?
Well, first of all, my name is Jill Wagner, and I was kind of inspired. It's weird because I have kind of a not so normal story about getting into acting, because I wasn't an actor in school. I didn't take drama or anything like that in high school or college. In fact, my dad owned a tire shop, and I really kind of just thought that one day I was going to take over the tire shop back in North Carolina. Thank God that didn't happen. But it was, I guess, when I graduated college, I graduated with a business degree and with a minor in marketing, and I wanted to take a little trip before I got, I guess, before I nailed myself down and working at the tire shop. And I decided to go out to California for a while, and I did that. And I had my grandparents had saved up like $4,000 for me ever since I was born, so they gave me that when I graduated college. Was probably the wrong decision because, of course, I was just like, well, let's go to California and I can just live forever off $4,000. I had no idea how expensive it was out there, but I did wind up meeting people, and through just meeting friends and talking to people, this guy I knew said, I think you should audition for this show called Punk. And I was like, I don't even know what an audition is. Is it like a job interview? And he's like, yeah, it's kind of like a job interview. He's like, well, just take a headshot with you. And I didn't even ask what that was. And I just took a picture of my head, took a Polaroid of my head, and I brought it to this audition, which was an audition for Punk'd with Ashton Kutcher. And then that was my deal. That's how I got into acting. Is he chose me to be the first female sketch performer on Punk'd, which I also had no idea what a sketch performer was. I knew nothing about the business. I mean, I still laugh at the fact that he hired me, because I was thinking, oh, did you take a huge risk? Because I was so green. I didn't know what anything was. I didn't, know the business at all. And after I got a taste of it, I remember just talking to my dad and saying, I am not coming back home. This is so much fun. And it was just, I guess it was just pure luck that I got into acting, because that had never crossed my mind before.
That's really, really cool. So when you did Punk'd, were you just part of the crew that did the practical jokes?
Yeah. So you have the actors, Dax, I think, was one of the first sketch performers. And I was on the cast that kind of was the actors that would punk the people. So I punked like Katie Holmes, Usher, Ashanti, Missy Elliott, Tommy Lee, Little Bow Wow. I punked all those people, and I just remember thinking, like, I don't know who a lot of these people are. Like, I didn't know who Little Bow Wow was, and I didn't know. There was just so much that I didn't know because of my lifestyle back in North Carolina. I wasn't one of those people that watched a lot of red carpet shows, or that, I don't even know if Us Weekly even existed back then, but Star Magazine. I definitely wasn't one of those people that, I was just a kid that played in the yard and was outside with sports, and so it was definitely something really different, but it was awesome, and it was fun, and I really appreciated that Ashton took a chance on me, and because he really did he got me my agent and my manager, and it was just really, really kind of him to do that.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. So do you grow up in a small town in the country?
I did. I grew up in Walburg, North Carolina, which is a little town outside of Winston-Salem. And I don't even think they have a stoplight in Wahlberg. I know they didn't when I grew up, but it's a very, very small little town. It might be smaller than the town I live in now. The town I live in now is 800 people in Tennessee. So it might be smaller than that.
You can relate to the Hallmark stories with the small town festival.
I live in a Hallmark town. It's crazy. I laugh because they had the lighting of the Christmas tree in the little downtown and all these little bake sales. And I mean, people are so kind and so nice. I recently just had an accident and I hurt my foot, and half of the community has came and brought me salads and peanut butter pie and potato soup, and people are just coming by the droves. And I just am not used to that. It's not that I didn't have great people that I knew in Los Angeles, but it's just different. It's different in a small town,
Yeah, you get some good casseroles.
Yeah, some people love casseroles. I mean, there is nothing than a good casserole. I'm telling you.
Agreed. Yeah, I hadn't really. My mom was, I don't know. She grew up on kind of traditional sort of Americana type cooking, and so she kind of went the opposite direction, and we didn't have a whole lot of that kind of thing. And we never really had roasts or casseroles or things like that very often. And then I served my mission for my church in Indiana, in small towns, most of the whole time. And I was like, these are delicious.
Oh yeah. Oh, once you get a taste of it, you're like, where have you been all my life?
Yeah. Yeah. And Jell-O, we only had Jell-O when we were sick. That was sort of a sick food. and then I'll never forget when I first went to a Hoosier meal, and they were like, I made a salad, and they brought out Jell-O with carrot in it. I was like, what? What is this?
Yeah, dude, it's totally there's definitely some foods that, I mean, the whole Jell-O and fruit thing, I was never a fan of. I remember my mom would make it, and I was kind of I want one or the other. I don't want them together.
Yeah.
But the other kinds of foods, like we were talking about, the roasts and the casseroles, and I mean, I'm digging that. Unfortunately, they're not the, if you're trying to maintain your weight, it's not the best thing for you, but I don't care.
You're right.
You just go to the gym a little bit more. I mean, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah. You can just have your weekly, maybe your cheat day.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Unfortunately, my husband likes that food way too much. And it's every day is a cheat day in my house. So
that is,
well.
Yeah. Well, you never know. You can't tell. That's for sure. So you were a host for the Wipeout show, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So what was that like?
It was one of the weirdest things that I've ever been a part of my entire life. But at the same time, it was pretty awesome because I'd never hosted a show. So that was my first hosting experience. And, it's so funny because I remember telling, I was on a show. I think I was on Blade or something, or Blade I'd just gotten through shooting Blade or something. And one of their producers, Matt Kunitz, or the creator of the show, had seen me on that, or either he saw me on the Mercury commercial or something I was doing. And he was like, oh, she's perfect for this show that I'm doing. And he told my agent, and I was like, look, I'm not a host. I don't know how to do that. So just politely say no. And then it was about another month. They came back and they were like, look, Jill, they really, really want to talk to you about hosting this show. And I was in North Carolina at the time, down at my grandma's house. And I remember saying, it's not that I don't think the show is a good idea. I don't want to look like a complete idiot, and I don't want to ruin the show for ABC because I don't know what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
could you just please explain to them, I really don't know what I'm doing when it comes to hosting, and they should probably get somebody that's like seasoned and, knows. They came back again. They were like, no, they want to talk to you about this. Can they just fly you out to LA? You sit down with the producers. They'll explain it to you. And I was like, look, okay, I'm down at grandma's house. So there's no me flying anywhere, but they can fly their producers here or their camera guys or whoever, and they want to come here, they're more than welcome. And I'll, grandma fixing something to eat, and they can stay at grandma's house or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's what they did. And that was my audition was, they came in and they came to my grandma's house and filmed me, I think interviewing my brother and his two friends and acting like they just won Wipeout. And that was my audition tape for Wipeout. And for some reason they thought that was good. I thought it was awful, but they thought it was good. And that's kind of how I got that job. I get jobs in the weirdest ways possible. So strange.
Hey,
like not by a normal like audition do I ever get anything. It's just these strange like little meetings or happenings.
Yeah. Well, hey, whatever works. Works.
Yeah, man. I call that fate. I just call it fate. It was my path,
I forgot to mention that you might be the first person that I've interviewed that we might be distantly like second cousins or something, because we both have same last name.
Wagner?
Yeah, my name is Rachel Wagner. Isn't that funny? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, we probably are.
Yeah. Right.
We'll just call each other cousins anyway.
Yeah.
Even if we're not, we'll just say we're cousins.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm good with that.
Awesome.
So did you ever try any of the obstacle courses on Wipeout?
Wow. No. I don't have any desire to have here's the thing, if you're on a roller coaster, you're like, okay, I'm going to go through this and I'm going to do it the same as everybody else in front of me. And I'm going to be okay at the end. Uh-huh. With Wipeout, it's not like that. Like you can watch somebody go through it and it looks like they're doing well, but you could fall and your face could pop off and on the first kind of obstacle course. So I'm like, you know what? No, because there's no rhyme or reason. Like I could never find out like how to actually do it because I never, I would see all these people go through it and each time it was completely different. So I felt like there was no strategy. There was no getting through it. So it was named Wipeout for a reason. And I'm like, well, they're not going to test that name out on me. Okay. So I was just good with hosting it. I'm like, look, until they pay me to be a contestant, I will just sit here and host it on the sideline.
Yeah. It looks painful. It looks
very painful. And here's the other thing. It's like, you don't talk to those people 2 days after they've been off the show, right? You just talk to them in the moment when it's like, oh, the adrenaline's going and everything's great. And yeah, I'm so happy I made it. I bet you if we took the show and we waited, or let's just say waited a day and came to their house, I bet I'd get a totally different reaction from most people.
Yeah.
I bet they'd be like, oh, my back.
Yeah. It's like the frozen carrots aren't cutting it.
Yeah, I just need that in my life. Like, I just don't want, bless the show, because the show was very as safe as they could possibly get it. They had everything padded. They had people on the sidelines, like, and really, to be honest with you, it didn't seem like a lot of people got seriously injured. It was like more like probably a sprain or something like that. But I don't know. I'm just, I don't need that in my life right now, or I didn't then.
Yeah, I prefer, that's why I don't really go skiing out here, even though I live in Utah. It's just like, I prefer activities with a lower pain.
Right. Yeah, I went skiing with my husband, I guess it was last year. And I don't know what was happening, but my feet were so cold And like, they got to the point where they were like numb, and I'm just looking around at everybody, and I was like, are your feet cold? And everybody's like, yeah, they're freezing. I'm like, okay, then why is this fun? Because
Right.
my feet are like, I don't even know if I have feet anymore. They're probably blue and frostbitten, and like, it was just not, it was not the thing. Maybe my boots were just not good boots, but anything that's
Yeah.
like that, where you're just kind of struggling to get through it, I'm to the point in my life now where I used to do that kind of stuff. I'm like, no, not
Yeah.
anymore. I'm going to go lay on the beach and drink a margarita.
Yeah, I'm with you. The pain, when the pain to fun threshold is not does not work, then no, I'm not going to participate in
Right?
that activity. Plus, like, it's
I hear
super
ya.
expensive. Like, if it was just free
Mhm.
or $10 or something, but it's like $7,500. I'm not going to spend that much
It's super,
super pain.
absolutely. No,
No way.
absolutely.
But that is really funny. So, you have done really well, I think, in your Hallmark movies, and I mean, I think all of them have been good. Like, I don't think there's a terrible one in the bunch, and that's pretty impressive. And I was just curious, like, what do you like about these roles in these films that have drawn you to them?
No, here's a great thing about Hallmark is I love that they focus their attention on strong female roles. I
Yeah,
really, really love that. And I love that the characters have arcs, and they're flawed. They're not
yeah,
perfect, because we're not perfect creatures. But I love to kind of watch the evolution of the character, and I also relate to a lot of the characters that I've played. And I think that's the beauty of the of these characters in Hallmark, these female characters. I feel like a lot of women can relate to them in one way
yeah,
or another. And it's I just love the way they're written, and I think it's a beautiful thing. And I'm always drawn to strong female roles. I mean, I can't even think of a role that I haven't played a
yeah,
strong female role. I think it's just, I mean, maybe I should take a victim role, and maybe that would be really hard for me to do. But I think it's just it's more interesting for me, and it just feels better, right?
yeah,
And I think
yeah,
women as a whole, we are pretty strong. I mean, I have to say, I've been around members of my family, and there are women that are super strong, way stronger than any of the men in my family.
yeah,
So, uh, I'm
yeah.
really drawn to that, and
Well,
I'm glad that Hallmark, putting the spotlight on women like that.
Well, and it's easy, I feel like, sometimes in our culture to dismiss something that's feminine as being silly, trite, not of value, kind of things. And
Hmm.
sure,
Hmm.
not all of the Hallmark movies are good. Some of them are stinkers, just like any studio and any,
Right.
and
Right.
but there, I have a hard time understanding people that can't at least see the escapism and the sweetness and the appeal to them, and especially Christmas. I mean, you want something that's sweet and
Mhm.
makes you feel good, and so I agree with you. And also, like,
Man, there's nobody that
yeah,
can top Hallmark at Christmas. Like,
yeah,
there's nothing. There's
not even
nothing
close.
on TV, movies, whatever. Like, so for the haters out there, it's like, just hate on, because
Yeah.
you can't touch it.
Exactly. And also, like, now that I've been doing the podcast, it's been so cool to see not only are they telling female centric stories, but also they have a lot of women writers, women directors, women
Hmm.
editors, like behind the scenes. Like, I think that's really impressive too. And I don't think Hallmark gets enough credit for the fact that they are doing that.
Yeah, and I don't think that a lot of people know
Yeah.
that. I mean, obviously, I'm in the family, and when you work with people. I mean, the first movie I ever did for Hallmark was a woman writer. In fact, I'm
Yeah.
still good friends with her, Laurie Stevens, and she's a great, great writer and a really good person. So yeah, I love what they're about. I've told Bill Abbott, the president of the company, I've told him many times. I mean, he just runs a tight ship, but it's great. It's such a good family to be a part of. And I didn't realize that until I started doing these. It's like how different it is, how different of an environment it is from a lot of the other projects that you can get put on. And sometimes it's a different energy, and it's not a positive energy. You know, you can get stuck in kind of that grind. And it's so nice to be on a set where everybody is just trying to do the same thing, create a really good movie that people are going to like. And there's no egos, and there's just friendliness and kindness, and everybody's just loving working, you know, and I think that's a beautiful thing. And I hope that comes across in the movies that we do.
Yeah. I think it does. It does for me, at least. So how did you get the role in Autumn Dreams?
Autumn Dreams was, so originally that was called Country Girl. And I had a conversation with my grandmother, and I had asked her, I said, Grandma, you know, what haven't I done in my career that you would like for me to do? And she said, well, Jill, you know, I love those Hallmark films. They're just so decent. And I was like, okay, Grandma. I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to do a Hallmark film for you then. So I called my manager. He made it happen. He sent me a couple scripts. I printed them out, mailed them to my grandma, and she read them. And within hours, she called me and she said, I know which one it is. You're going to play Annie in Country Girl. And so that wound up being Autumn Dreams. And that was kind of how I got started in doing Hallmark movies, period. And I told her, I promised her, I said, as long as you want me to, I will continue to do these. And I really have it's like I owe her this kind of change in my career. And because I was more of a sci-fi chick, and I was, you know, action films, and I still love doing that. You know, it's not that I don't, but this has definitely opened up a whole new fan base for me, and it's opened up a whole new way of acting, and it's closer to who I really am. I'm used to kind of playing the bad girl villain types, and it's interesting because that's not me at all. And the people that know me are like, gosh, you're like the cool girl next door that lives next door. It's like sending you casseroles all the time. So it's like, you know, they're just closer to who I am.
Yeah. So the only thing about Autumn Dreams that was challenging is that I felt so bad for the guy who was left behind, her fiance.
No. Oh gosh, do you know how many times we were like, I apologized to him. Like, we would laugh about it. Obviously, me and the actor, we would laugh about it. But, you know, I would always say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, because this is awful. Like, and I think they really try to watch that. Like, Hallmark really tries to watch that, you know, that they don't ever want that to come across. But in that particular movie, like, you just felt like, oh, this poor guy just coming back for more, you know?
Take a hint.
I know, I felt that too. We all felt that.
Oh, good. So Christmas Cookies, that must have been a fun movie to make, because it's such a classic Hallmark movie with the corporate person, the business coming in, threatening to shut down the cookie factory. Like, that's so classic.
Right. Yeah, and it was awesome because I got to eat like 125 Christmas cookies. And I didn't feel bad because I was like, it's part of my job.
Right.
That was a really great film too. And boy, like, I still talk to Wes Brown. Like, it's like all of the people that I work with, I really, really do bond with these people, and they become friends. Like, I mean, not the kind of friends that you don't talk to. I mean, like the kind of friends that you check in with, and, you know, constantly we like send little texts to each other, like laughing at this or that, or, I mean, just a really good guy. And I remember at the time I filmed that movie, I was actually going through a breakup, and I kind of lost all hope and faith in men in general. And I remember I was talking to him one night, and he was talking about his wife and how lovely she is and how much he loves her, and just so many really positive things about this woman. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, there is hope. Like,
Aw.
there are guys out there that like really love who they're married to and that don't cheat and that, you know, just all these great things. And so I remember just telling him, like, you kind of renewed my faith in relationships. And it was odd because I was going through a breakup at the same time, but he was a really important part of that process for me.
Yay, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
I've always liked Wes Brown. Now I like him even more. That is so
Oh, he's an incredible human being. He is such a great guy, great family guy, like just a stand-up human being. And I just remember in some of our conversations thinking like, this is a really good person, and that's who I want to be around, and that's who I want to work with.
That's really cool. Well, I mean, he's a definite Hall star. He's been in a ton of Hallmark movies, so that's really cool. I love that. So then you had Harvest Wedding, and this one was really fun. I did have to laugh every time that you had your like visions of wedding, like you'd be like, it's like an experience, which was so funny to me. It's like, I see whiteness and like
white. And okay, so by the way, that little like speech that I had to do was like, oh my gosh, it was like the longest monologue. And we were at the end of the day and the sun was going down. And I don't know why we chose to leave this scene to the last part of the day, because I only had, I think it was like maybe 2 takes to do that. And it was the longest monologue, and everybody behind me, all the other actors were like holding their breath because they were thinking, oh my gosh, if she messes this up, or if, you know, sometimes as an actor, you get in your head and you start messing up and it's like, oh gosh, this is just not, you know, it's like take 32. It just, sometimes it won't come out. And I was just praying. I was like, please God, let this thing come out right. And it did. I mean, it did both times, but that was the worst. I hated that scene so much because I was thinking, oh, I was just like, just get through the lines. Like, don't even worry about don't even worry about acting it. Just say it.
That's really funny. I would never have known. You pulled it off. You did a good job.
Oh, it was awful. Thank you. It was awful.
But that movie was full of Hall stars. Victor Webster, who's so great. Marcus Rosner, Andrea Brooks. Like, it was a lot of fun people in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And my my husband and Victor wound up becoming really good friends, and they go to the gym together when we were in LA. And I mean, it's like I said, we still wind up talking to a lot of these people.
That's really cool. And I loved the ending. It was kind of ridiculous, but I still loved it, the ending of that movie, because
on the roof, being on the roof with all the porn.
Because usually in Hallmark movies, the woman has to like give up her whole career for the guy.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it.
I like that, right?
Even if it was a little over the top, I still really appreciated that he moved to the city for her and they made it work with their rooftop field.
Yeah, I did too. I like that too, because when I was reading it, I was thinking, oh, she's gonna go, but no, it was a little twist at the end that I liked, and Lord help me with that baby bump situation. I had to try on a million of those before I found one that looked real.
Right.
I'm like, is this how it's really supposed to look? It was so awful.
That's funny. Yeah. So then last Christmas, you had Maggie's Christmas Miracle, which was one of our favorites. Right. We both really liked it. And you and Luke McFarlane had such good chemistry. He's definitely one of the best. That must have been fun.
Luke. I love Luke. I mean, like I said, what a great human being Luke is. And it makes it so much better when you get there and you realize who you're working with, and you're like, oh, okay, they gave me something to work with. you know, I mean, because there have been times in my career where it's kind of like, I don't know if I'm that good of an actor. Like, I'm gonna have to force some chemistry here. But Luke, it was such a great, I mean, he's a great actor. He's just such a sweet guy. Like, I felt like he was Casey when I first met him. Like, I was just like, okay, I didn't even see Luke. I just saw Casey, and he was perfect. Like he was exactly what I thought the character would be in my mind when I was reading it. And I loved that story. I thought it was just a really sweet story, and I felt, I mean, definitely it's something that I feel like a lot of people can relate to that as well. You know, that situation.
Yeah, it was really, really sweet. There were a lot of things I really liked in it. I loved the song with the guy who sang "Oh Holy Night," and he's like, that's when
Yeah,
that was so good. And when he's like turning in the quilt, I was like,
oh, I know. I know. I actually teared up when I read that in the script.
Yeah.
And
the kid who played your son was so cute.
So smart.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you one thing. If I got any of my lines off, he knew it. I was like, all right, kid. Okay. You worry about yourself. Don't be telling me if I've got something wrong, or better yet, don't tell anybody else.
Yeah. The other thing I loved in that movie is, I think it was Lane Edwards playing the wrong guy.
Yes.
He was so it was so like Sir Creeps. He did that part like perfect. It was so funny, like so over the top.
No, totally. We got so tickled. There was one part of the movie where he was talking about a parking spot, and I don't know if they wound up editing some of that, because there was a lot of parking spot talk, and we were trying to get through it. And you know how we had the church laugh. We had the laugh that was like, oh no. Every time you got to that part, both of us would just start dying. I mean, well, actually, it was everybody that was in the scene was just dying. And then I looked over at the producers, and they were not laughing, but we could not get through it. I was just like, can you just not say parking spot? Like, can you just get through that and not say the parking spot thing? Oh, it's awful. But it's like, once you kind of get in that laugh and you get tickled like that, it's so hard, especially when you know the producers are like, we're on a time crunch and we got to get out of here and you're losing us money, and then you keep laughing. Oh,
it was really funny. I mean, like, didn't he want to take you to Europe or something like that? And it was like, it's like, dude, she's a kid. She's not going to go off with you at Christmas. Like, what's wrong with you?
Exactly. Well, I was laughing, or actually at first I was like, wait a minute, why wouldn't he put 2 tickets in here?
Right.
And they were like, well, if he puts 2 tickets, and he's like the perfect guy. Right. So there had to be something that you're like, no, I would never, 1 ticket. I'm not going without my kid.
No, he was so funny. Like the classic sort of skeevy bad guy, like wrong guy kind of thing. I really liked it. And also, like, how much time did you have to spend staring at that snow globe?
Oh God.
It's like
so long. That it was just like, I mean, all snow globes. I was just snow globe. We were, it becomes a point though when you just like, I mean, you're just on autopilot at a certain time after you've been up for, I don't know, 16 hours, and you're in the 16th hour shooting, and you're just like, I don't know what I'm staring at anymore.
Yeah. You're like, it's losing its magic here, folks. Like,
yes, it's losing the magic.
That's so funny. Well, let's talk about your next film. This is so exciting, coming out this weekend, Pearl in Paradise. And you were so lucky to get to go to Fiji to film this.
Oh man, was I ever? Yeah. I mean, it was incredible. I downplayed it all. It was magic. It was insanely beautiful. And I know, we were working obviously, so I didn't get to explore all that much, but the parts that I did see, and we did film in some really, really beautiful locations. I mean, we were taking long boats down the river to even get to our location that we were filming. It was just incredible, and the people were amazing, and it was just a kind of a trip of a lifetime. And the fact that I was working and I was actually getting paid to do this, it was incredible.
Yeah.
And I was with a lot of really, really cool people. So,
yeah,
that made it even better.
Yeah. Christopher Poloha, he seems like a really fun guy.
Oh gosh. Christopher is crazy. I love that guy so much. He's he's so funny in the exact way that I find humorous. Like some people, I don't know, maybe some people don't get his humor. I totally do. I think he's hilarious. I don't know why he hasn't had more comical roles, because I think he's really, really funny. And I actually worked with Christopher. I worked with him 14 years ago on a show called The North Shore in Hawaii.
Oh.
And I think it's fun. It's like we keep meeting in this tropical locations, and so we played love interest in that show, and then here we are in this, and I think it really helped us because we had kind of had we'd met before and hung out, and we kind of knew each other, and we both have a mutual friend, Jason Momoa, that we just all kind of know each other. So it was great. It was great to be able to film with him because it made it really easy and very comfortable.
So you're friends with Aquaman? This is exciting.
I am. Jason has been he was actually my first acting partner in Los Angeles. And we in fact, Braven is out now too. We filmed a movie together where I play his wife, and it's on this crazy action film. But Jason he's like family to me. He's an awesome guy, and
that's
like
really
I said,
cool.
he's like my brother.
Cool. Yeah. So were you consciously trying in this movie to get sort of a Romancing the Stone kind of vibe, or I don't know?
Yeah, no, we weren't. We weren't, and until it kind of just happened, and then it was like, oh, okay, we see it, and that was to me a huge compliment, to be, even compared to a little bit to that film. So I think it's a different kind of Hallmark movie. Of course, I haven't read all the Hallmark films, but the ones that I have read, and the ones that I have seen, this one stood out to me and is different, and I like that about it.
Cool. That makes me really excited. It looks different, and all of the honestly, the Summer Nights films have been hitting out of the park. Like I've liked all three of them a lot, and so far.
Awesome.
And so I'm sure that I will like this as well. I mean, I love the beach. I'm like, it's so already the setting alone. But it looks
I mean, if you're gonna, Fiji is insanely beautiful. I mean, I was looking at some of the shots, and it's just like, wow. I mean, it looks like green screen. Like, it could totally look fake, but we were really there, I promise.
That's awesome. Well, is there anything you can kind of tell us about your character or anything without getting into spoilers?
My character, I play Alex Anderson, and she's a photographer, and she's really, really, really super career driven, and she's been very successful, and she wants to get the creative director position. And so she pitches this idea about going to find this pearl hidden somewhere in Fiji, and there's only one person that knows about it, where it is, and that is Colin, which is Chris's character. And so they go on this adventure to find this pearl, and it's a lot of really great people that they meet along the way, and obviously wind up finding a treasure far greater than any pearl.
Ooh, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, it's good. There's a lot of comedic moments. And then there's also just great, I actually don't know how it's going to come across on film because I haven't seen the movie yet, but I just know when we were filming it, like Chris and I felt like we have really good chemistry, and I think, and I'm hoping that comes across, because we're just like, we were cutting up, and there's just a familiarity, and it just felt like it was working. So I'm hoping, I have my fingers and toes crossed that comes through.
That sounds great. That sounds really good. Well, we can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. We like to close off our interviews with what we call the Teen Beat questions, which are just sort of silly. Teen Beat was the old like teenager magazine, high school magazine. So,
Oh, I remember Teen Beat. Oh my God. I totally remember that.
Right? Okay, good.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's like a blast from the past.
Yeah, you could get like your poster of Jonathan Taylor Thomas or something like that.
You're bringing back like Shira memories and stuff like that. Wow.
Right. So, all right. The first question, best ice cream flavor.
Best ice cream flavor. I would have to say, I mean, I still love cookies and cream. Like it's like my jam.
Yeah.
I can't help it.
That's one of my favorites too. So favorite color?
Favorite color is gray.
Oh, nice. What music are you into right now?
I'm a country girl,
Yay.
100%.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite or just like it all?
My favorite, I mean, I have a lot of different ones I listen to, but probably my go-to favorite is Miranda Lambert.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can kind of pretty much just clean my house and sing every one of her songs at the same time, and just helps the process go
yeah
much
well
faster.
it's gonna be fun this Christmas. There's gonna be Leanne Rimes in a Christmas movie and Kelly Pickler, so it's like country music.
Oh yeah, I think who did was it West that did Kelly Pickler?
I believe so. Yeah.
I think I was talking to him, and he's telling me that he was doing something with her.
So that should be fun. So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, what is your go-to date night food?
Go-to date night food. I guess, let's see, if we're date nighting, we're going out, right?
Right.
So it's probably going to be a steak.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably
Nice.
we go out to eat steaks and stuff like that.
Yeah. That sounds yummy. You want to have something that you're not going to get messy. Like kind of.
Yeah. Well, like steak, baked potato, and salad. It's kind of like my husband. He's just a meat and potatoes kind of guy.
Yeah.
And so he likes to make it count when we go out.
Yeah. So what is your go-to date night activity?
Gosh, well, because there's not anything to do here. So actually, I will tell you this. So since I live in such a little town, we don't really have a lot to do. So, but what we do is we have a John Deere Gator, and we take a bottle of wine and in the Gator, and we go up to the top of our hill. We have like 190 acres here, and we go up to the top of the hill, and we sit there and we drink wine and we watch our cows.
Oh, that's really sweet. I love that.
Yeah.
That's really cute. That's
it's the best. It is the best. I mean, it is the best of any dates I've ever been on. And we've went on the same date night for, probably 100 times now, but it never gets old. I love it. We watch the sunset. It's amazing.
That is so cool. I love that. So next question, dogs or cats? I know you have a lot of animals, I think, on your property. So.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's so funny because my raccoons now that I have next to the house. But dogs, definitely dogs. Yeah.
Okay. Beaches or mountains?
Mountains.
Oh, I wasn't expecting you to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm a mountain girl. I'm definitely country, mountains. I love earth, land. I mean, not that I don't love the beaches, but I was just raised, more towards the mountains. We would always go to the mountains.
Cool. Yeah. So fancy dress or sweats?
Can I just say blue jeans?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
That's what I'd rather wear more than anything. Blue jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah. That sounds comfortable to me. All right.
Yeah.
Then we have favorite holiday.
Favorite holiday. It's Christmas.
Yeah. Just pretty much for everybody. I mean, it's Hallmark. Hello.
I mean, I can't help it. It's like, it's such a warm feeling, and I always see my family, and it's just like, I love the music. I love just everything about that. The house smells like pine needles. Like, it reminds me of being a kid. And I think that's the thing that everybody loves about it. It's like that family, and you feel like, I don't know, it's very nostalgic.
Yeah, definitely. Am I allowed to ask you if you have a Christmas movie in the works, or that's still?
No, not yet. Not yet. There's been some maybes.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Oh,
But no, I haven't
yeah.
filmed anything yet.
Okay. Well, Hallmark Channel, they need to get, if you're listening, you need to get her in a Christmas movie.
That's right, Hallmark Channel.
That's right. So, okay. So last question. What is your favorite Hallmark movie? And you can pick one that you've been in.
Oh gosh. You know what? What was that train one? The name of it.
The Christmas Train?
They were on it. Was it The Christmas Train? I think it was. Who was in that?
That had Kimberly Williams Paisley and
yes, that was her. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked that one. And there was another one that I loved with Candace Bure, where she goes kind of back in time.
Oh yeah. Journey Back to Christmas.
Gosh, you're good. Yeah. I like both of those.
Those are good ones. Those are very sweet. Both of those are very, very sweet.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, good. That's all the questions you passed. You passed the test.
Oh, yay. Tests make me nervous, but I was okay with this one.
Oh, good. Good.
Actually, I changed one of your questions, fully changed it by putting blue jeans in there, but whatever.
Hey, it's all right. It's good. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. This was so much fun. And it was so much fun to get to know you better. And we're so excited about the movie. And so we really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Anytime. I loved talking to you, especially since we're cousins and I didn't know that. So
that's right.
That's another plus. This whole thing is I've found another family member.
That's right. If you're ever in Utah, we can have a cousin meetup. That'll be good.
And if you're ever in Tennessee, you look me up.
I will. I promise. So,
awesome.
So do you have social media that you'd like to share or anything like that?
Yeah. Jill Wagner. That's what I am in Instagram.
Okay, great. And we'll put a link to that in the description section. And and you can follow me at Rachel's Reviews on iTunes and on YouTube, and make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod on Instagram and on Twitter and all over social media. We definitely will be live tweeting the movies, and we have so much fun doing that. And if you can put in your ratings and reviews on iTunes for the podcast, we really appreciate it, because then people can find us more easily. So thanks again, Jill. We really appreciate it.
Awesome.
It was so much fun.
Thank you so much.